in many cases we get this, but aren't you afraid maybe they take you to a wrong place and they rob you? Yeah, but what if? We can't live life but with a bunch of what ifs, because then you won't see anything. So yeah, what if we ask that person's going to mug us? Yeah, but what if also we ask that person's going to take us to one of the most amazing places on this planet, because that person hasn't told anybody else about that. It's that little person's safe haven. That little person's, slice of heaven on earth.
Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Please don't forget to follow Urbanistica on the different social media platforms, and also let's connect on LinkedIn. Big thanks to Urbanistica podcast partner, AFRY. AFRY is an international engineering and design company providing sustainable solutions in the fields of energy, industry, and infrastructure. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it.
I have the pleasure to welcome you, Alex, to Urbanistica podcast. Hey and welcome.
Hey, servus, grüß dich, wie geht's? Alles gut? Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm doing perfectly fine today.
Can you take the beginning again in English, because we have so many people that really didn't get what you say in the beginning?
Okay, so I pretty much just said hello in different languages or different Austrian or German styles. That's all.
Thank you so much for coming, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's the pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, my pleasure. We have a really long story together. Started from TEDx in Stockholm, right?
Yes, it did.
And now you're here on the podcast.
Yes, I am. And I've been looking forward to this invite for so long. And yeah, so I've just been like waiting, like, when is it going to come? And finally it did. So I'm super stoked to be here and super excited. Like you said, we have a long history going with the TEDx being a part of that community. So yeah.
We're supposed also to record, I think, pre-corona or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when you said, okay, so let's do a pre-corona or let's do a pod. And I'm like, yeah, let's do a pod. That sounds like amazing. I wonder what I can contribute with. But then all of a sudden Corona came and, I like the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
Even if I enjoy the digital era that we're embarking on, but I still was like, oh, face-to-face.
Yeah, I remember I told you I think it was in May that would you like to do it digitally? And you'd be like, no, we wait. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
But you're also busy with the coaching online, right?
Yeah. It's been a lot. The transition from not adjusting. I don't know. I haven't found the word that I want to use, because some people are like, oh, we have changed into the digital era and we really adapted into that. And I guess we had it coming. We had just had no idea.
Yeah.
We know it was going to come, but we had no idea it was going to be so fast and so swift. But yeah, like you said, it's been several hours and hours and eons on online coaching, but it's fun. I love it. Yeah. So we were waiting for this, but we just didn't know that it was going to come so fast. So
yeah. Well, Alex.
Yes.
How would you like to introduce yourself, and please tell us about your passion?
Ooh, how would I like to introduce myself? I'm a fun-loving guy. Married, no children, currently live in Stockholm, moving in a couple of weeks. Well, when you listen, I probably already moved. Love to explore the world. Curiosity is one of my favorite treats. My passion in life, it's not hard. It's just how you conclude it into one sentence. Okay, so passion in life would be that I want to make a greater imprint of the world to make it just somewhat better than it was prior to my arrival. That might be sounding like I'm what do you call it, UFO, but no, it's more of just having an impact on children and youth, and in what I'm driving in, or my driving force, communication. Yeah.
When did everything started that you decide this is my passion and I will work with this forever?
I must say that it's pretty much 11 years ago when, I blame, not blaming something with guilt, but I would say that it's all about, it's all due to David Jp Phillips, my one of my best friends today, and my mentor. he kind of opened up the Pandora's box of communication for me in a positive way. I know Pandora is usually something negative, but in this case, 11 years ago, I was watching TV and I was doing one of these super bad PowerPoints, but I thought I was great at that time, with all the animations that were flying in from the left and right and exploded, imploded. But there, somewhere on that line, he woke something up in me and said, hey, communication is pretty fun. I wonder how you become great in communication. Maybe I can become somebody like David in maybe 15 or 20 years. That's what I had 11 years ago. But then I was really working hard on communicational skills and my communicational skills, and had contact with David all the time. And that's 4 years later, he asked me, hey, why don't you join me? And when he asked me, that's kind of concluded into, all right, starting point, passion, yep, communication.
Tell the listeners about who is David.
Okay, so David Jp Phillips is, well, I would say one of the world's most renowned person when it comes to, he has 3 TEDx that he's running, like the magical science of storytelling, how to avoid death by PowerPoint, and the latest one was the 110 steps of excellence. And those 3 kind of benchmark the communication revolution that we have started. And that was, so he created this out of the neurology and biology of the human brain and human nature. So he took everything that was out there in terms of knowledge and thoughts and ideas and kind of drew it into, this is what the brain works like. So he, and I've been working with him since the last 7 years, 7.5, 7 years, almost 7.5. Yeah. Oh, cool. Almost a decade soon.
Yeah. So let's say 8 years ago, it clicks for you that this is the passion. This is where you want to continue forever.
Yep.
Awesome. And you told me, it was before Corona, about your crazy trip to South America.
Oh.
I don't know how many countries, but the aim of this episode is that you will share with us the story of your journey, the cities, how did you communicate with people, the different transportation modes or ways you were taking, and so on. Yeah. So it's more about like your journey and what is home for you as well, because from what I know from our friendship, you don't really, how to say, you don't have something called home. For you, it's like any city could be home.
Yeah.
So let's start with the journey. What was the purpose of it, and how many days did you plan, and so on?
Okay. So the purpose of the journey was to explore. And I guess people prior to me has said the same thing. Well, exploration is one of the greatest features in life. Yes, it may be so. But at the same time, I have to jump back around 6 years ago when I met my wife, and she was really my eye opener. I mean, David, he said like, this is the direction of passion, right? But then I had this little side thing that felt emptiness, and she filled that with, I was prior to that very destructive in my thoughts and ideas and how I saw the world. I mean, going to different countries would be equivalent to dying as soon as you landed and got off the airport. You would be robbed and killed and left on the road. My idea. Yeah. I'm not saying that is the right way to go. So meeting Katarina, it just opened up that she was curious by nature. And when it was contagious. Her curiosity was contagious. So I got curious into seeing different things, places that I told her like rigorously, it's like, no, I will never go to that place. Never, 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 never. And she started, like tiny, small features of persuasion, convincement. Maybe as an example, going to South Africa. Like, I'm never going to go there. I will be killed and robbed. Nah. So she said, it's a beautiful place. So she started showing these pictures after a couple of weeks after I said that I will never go. Yeah. She started showing me pictures of this beautiful mountain went straight down to this beach, and the beach just went down into the ocean, and it was just a beautiful place. I'm like, where is this? And she goes, no specific. It's just it's the garden route or in South Africa. I'm like, oh, wow, that's nice. Yeah. Maybe, that's a cool place. And she, a couple of weeks later went by, and she bought a bottle of wine. And I'm like, oh, this is a delicious wine. Where is it from? She's like, it's from South Africa. Oh, wow.
Nothing special.
Nothing special. And then the final where it goes, this is something I really want to do. She showed me a video of great whites, the big gigantic shark, the greatest predator we have on Earth. And I go, I want to do that someday. Where is this taken? She's like, I don't want to rain on your parade, but it's from South Africa. I'm like, okay.
Book the tickets.
Yep. 3 weeks later, we booked the ticket, and one of the greatest journeys we've done. And that really set the tone for the entire thing, the entire duration of both our relationship and the way that we live our life. And coming back to where is home is based on that trip we made, that journey, that time. It just opened up everything. So the purpose of the exploration of South America was just to learn culture. The way that people speak to each other, the way that people act together with each other, foreigners, how they act with foreigners and against foreigners as well, because it wasn't all good and sunshine on our trip to South America. But yeah, so I guess that would be the purpose, just to explore and also see the gigantness of the landscape.
How many countries did you visit?
Oh,
did you know before you visit that you're gonna visit so many countries, and did you plan?
We said this. We aimed. Okay, we're gonna be the 67 days. That was the aim. 67 days and no plan. We only knew one thing when we got there, and I guess that is a plan. We got there, and they go, okay, this is the starting point. This is the finishing point. Let's do as many countries as we can in 67 days.
So zero plan before?
Zero plan. We knew that we had things that we wanted to see, but we had no idea how to see them or where to go or what direction we needed to take to see them.
Are you serious?
I am 100% serious.
But like, why? Because now if we go to a weekend, we spend like 7 days in planning where to go, exactly when, what to take, and with all this application. How was it in your case? You were not afraid?
For what?
I don't know, get lost in South America?
No. The thing is that you have to rely a little bit on, not a little, but you have to rely a lot on your gut feeling. Like do what you need to do and just solve the equation. Like solve the problem. Don't see like, oh no, there's nothing planned. So I mean, we went down to Brazil first. That was our starting point, to Rio de Janeiro. And I just fell in love with that city from the get-go. It was amazing. And people were like, oh, you're going to get robbed as soon as you land. This is a bad neighborhood. The favela over there is really bad. You don't want to go there. Trust me. It's like one of the worst favelas in the world. I'm like, okay, fine. So we went there.
How big was your bag?
Oh, so we only had a 30-liter bag each. So it's not the big gigantic one where you go hiking in the Patagonia. No. It's not that one. It's the one where you take with your friends and family when you're going to go out for a little fika out in the forest.
Like a picnic.
Like a little picnic, yeah. So it's 30 liters. So I was really strategically packing that bag so we fit everything that we needed. Extra cell phone, analog maps if we ever would get lost. I could tell you this. It was like throwing money up in the air because the internet connection in South America is amazing in 97% of the case. The rest, you kind of, you can look and you see where you need to go. Yeah. But no, so we traveled really, really light. And that was the thing as well, just to see if we can survive. And that was really one of the like hard points for me, was to go, if I can survive with that bag, and okay, there's two things, but if I could survive with that bag and sufficient amount of money on my bank account, we can't forget that. I mean, still, you have to have a little bit of cash to manage. Yeah. But I guess you can do it without it anyways. But in our case, because we had 67 days, we had to take on the entire South America, the entire continent. We had to travel preferably by airplane than bus, even if we did that a couple of times as well, because there was no other choice. But it was just, if I can survive this, there's nothing I can't survive when it comes to either moving myself or going somewhere and just managing what I have either on me or what I can pack in a bag.
True. So you went to Brazil first?
Yes.
With zero plan?
Exactly.
But how did you decide what is next? And
Lonely Planet. Lonely Planet has this book called, what is it? The Highlights of South America. And when you look at this book, it's like, oh, this is really nice. It's like 200 something pages long. It's like, oh, this is really nice. So we said, okay, let's do as many as we can in this book, because the majority of things that we want to see, things on the UNESCO heritage, what do we call it? UNESCO heritage list. Like one of the list, there's several different ones, and also see if we can combine it with some 7 natures of the world or something that nature has done and created. So we started doing that and started checking off the things that we wanted to see, like Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro was one of the key things that, well, let's see that. But on top of that, you could see so many other things, like the jungle that is right next to where we lived. Like literally, you walk out of the very simple hotel and you took a you took a right, walked a couple of streets, then you had the rainforest.
Wow.
So it's like the interconnection between those things just made everything mind-blowing. And you start off with that. Just imagine what it looks like then when you come a little bit further down the road and going, well, you start off this high, like Rio was really nice. I wonder if anything else can really beat that. So yeah. So from Rio de Janeiro, we took ourselves we thought about going straight to Buenos Aires, but we said, no. We want to watch the Iguazu Falls and one of the great nature wonders of the world. So we went there, and that was pretty interesting, because that you can see the border between both. It's like in Canada, or the Niagara Falls. You can see United States, and you have the Canada on the other side. But there you have 3 different ones. So you have both. You both have Argentina, you have Brazil, and then you have Paraguay. So when we did that travel, we went in there as well. So we kind of got that little. We do collect something from every country we go to around in the world, and that's a little refrigerator magnet. So we needed to get that one as well. So that was what we did. Yeah. So we did all of them, all 3, in less than 24 hours. So that was pretty cool. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing.
How did you manage to book the hotels, to choose a hotel without looking in a phone app?
We did use the phone app in some cases. In other cases, we went on recommendation. But Google is your friend. Hotels.com is your friend. Booking.com is your friend. All of these are your friends. And we had no idea what to book, but once again, when you have we had to lower our standards, and I'm going to take that back. I didn't lower any standards because I don't have any standards. As long as there's something flat and there's hopefully a pillow on the end, I can sleep on it. Katarina is not really the same, but she needs to have at least a bed with 4 legs on it. And if you can read between the lines what I'm saying, yeah, we do not sleep in the same bed. So that means that I sleep on the floor or on a couch or a separate bed, and she sleeps on the bed that she deserves. So sometimes on our journey, we ended up in a really nice hotel by the airport because we were going to fly off the next day. Those were the nicest hotels.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you just imagine that you take the hotels by the airport. In many cases, they're not like the fancy. They're like the regular ones. But those were the fancy ones in our case. The worst one I would say would be in, was it French Guiana? Yes, it was. No, sorry. Yeah, it was French Guiana. And we take this guy, he just like, you want to, hello, you would like to, it's a French accent because you speak French in French Guiana.
See.
It's like, bonjour, monsieur, would you like to go to the real forest? Like we talk in the real rainforest, huh? Like deep into the jungle? I'm like, yeah, you're looking at Katarina. She's like, yeah, we want to go. They're like, yes, it's a small island in the middle of nowhere. You can go there. You can do whatever we have the sleeping place. It's a little bungalow. And we just like, oh, that's amazing. How much is it? No, it's cheap. It's only 20 euros per night. That's good price. Your own little island with your own little cabin. I mean, I was seeing this bungalow by the beach, in the middle of the jungle with nobody around. Yeah. That was not really the equivalent to what we got. So we got on this boat, took a 15-minute boat ride into the river, up the river, and get off. And of course, yes, there's a bungalow. There are several bungalows, but they're pretty much falling apart. I'm like, okay, look at Katarina. Katarina looks at me and she's like, I'm not going to get off this boat. I'm like, we have no choice. We already paid him, man. Okay, all right. So we jumped off this boat. We walked up to the guy who was running this place. Not a single word of either French, English, or anything. They're talking their native language there on this little island. So nothing. They're like,
Nothing works with them.
Parlez-vous anglais? No. I think I'm like, okay, this is gonna go great. So he shows us to her room, and we get to choose because there's nobody else on this island, of course, because it's a cesspool. So I get, and I'm not going to disrespect because it was the standard for them was good, right? Or decent. So we come up to the room that they prepared, and you hit a level of acceptance and understand that you will never ever complain about anything ever again coming from a Western world. In some cases, you know perfectly well, we can complain of, oh, the water is not so hot in the in like flushing the water at home when you brush your teeth, or it's not cold enough, right? But when you enter a room where there is no water, there is no restroom, there is no toilet, there is no shower, there is nothing running at all, but there is one thing. There is mouse poop on your pillow. When you realize and you accept that and say, okay, screw it, I'll do it anyways, then you know that there is nothing that you won't be grateful for in life, especially when it comes to sleeping quarters and sleeping arrangements. So that was one of the, but we slept there for one night. It was crazy. There were geese, that's what you call them, geese outside that were protecting their eggs. So they were shouting through the entire night when we were going to go to the restroom and everything, because nature was your restroom. So yeah, it was great. And then you had somebody it sounded like he was stabbed and died in the toilet. It was cool. It was a really non-sleeper. Yeah, we didn't sleep so much that night.
So many experience.
Just by one situation.
Where else did you go to? Which cities or countries?
Okay, so let's run through the list. So we went to Argentina, we went to Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Suriname,
Brazil,
Aruba, that was different, and French Guiana. Yep. So we missed out on Paraguay and regular Guyana and Venezuela.
Wow.
Yeah. Or Bolivia as well.
Bolivia.
Yeah.
But you didn't mention that you visit the city, like the urban. You almost went for the nature?
Yeah, we went for the nature, but going through the nature and aiming for that, you have to pass through the cities.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, of course. So yeah, so we entered Buenos Aires. We went to Rio de Janeiro, as I said, and wow, the amazing part was when you forget the names of the capitals in different cities.
Because you visit more than 10.
I know. It's like, why am I forgetting this? Why am I forgetting this? So cities, yeah, even if I can't remember them, but let me see. Okay, so here we go. Cities that we traveled to was Buenos Aires. We had Rio de Janeiro, Lima, Peru. We have Quito in Ecuador. We went to Bogota in Colombia, but it was just with the airplane, and then we went up to Cartagena, and that was nice. From that, we went up to Aruba, did the entire main island there, and the two cities that had like a big impact was Paramaribo in Suriname and Cayenne in French Guiana. But we can come to that later on, why they stood out from the rest of them.
Yeah. Did you notice the big difference between these cities and the cities that you experience in Europe or maybe in Scandinavia?
Like city-wise, I mean, this was pre-corona, this was pre-COVID, but it was still very disturbing times, especially in Quito in Ecuador, because that was the uprising of the students and that. Here's the thing, big difference between the two cities. When somebody in Scandinavia increases the subway rates, people go, okay.
No.
When someone increases the subway rates on the ticket in Ecuador, people are not going, okay. People are burning tires. People are protesting, marching, saying this is not right. So there was a big student movement during that time. So, but looking at the, it was just busy. It was the buzz of everything. I mean, you could imagine the amount of people that live in Rio de Janeiro compared to here in Stockholm, as an example. the same amount of people that live entire Sweden is covered in just not even the suburbs, but in this main center of Rio de Janeiro. And you would expect that the buzz would be like, oh, too much people going around and too crowded. No. So the comparison is quite, out of my aspect, I can't answer from anybody else's aspect. From my aspect, it wasn't that big of a difference. The only thing that they have that was more beautiful in many cases was nature, connected to the urban life. I mean, you have a high rise in the middle of a rainforest. On one side, you have a road, and then you have rainforest. And then you have this beautiful architectural, like a little mountain of houses, the old Rio de Janeiro that's still, it's still, how do you say it? It's still present. In other countries, they would probably just tear it down and build something new, house more people. But they just said, no, we're going to keep that old stuff. We're going to keep the old town. And that contrast between that was amazing. And that was just the Rio de Janeiro. Looking at Quito or Lima, Peru, I mean, Lima, Peru was another mind-blowing experience, because when you enter Lima, Peru, you were on such a high altitude, which leads that not only it's really highly located, you get the freshness of the air, and so you can stand there up on top of a mountain and even go on a swing, and you look down, and down there you have downtown. That is just, it was just such a little pot of just a city growing from that. So yeah, there's I really enjoyed Peru on several layers, like on several things, like looking at the art out of the city style. We visited at Machu Picchu and comparing the old style to the new style. And it was really cool of just getting at the same place, that experience. But then you might say, well, Alex, you have that here in Stockholm. You mean you got the old town, you got new town, you got all these different areas and suburbs. Yeah, but looking at what we, it's the interconnection between the nature and the urban lifestyle that they have succeeded with on a higher level than I say that we have done here. We have parks. They have rainforests. That's
like separated, or not really well connected to the city?
No, connected to the city. That's the thing. Like, once again, I have to go back to my favorite place in the world right now, or was prior to Corona. It still is. But that was Rio de Janeiro. That the interaction between nature and man versus nature. Makes sense? That it's connected such a great way, that you had the hard mountains just being there, and then there was a tunnel, and on the other side there was a beach, and around that beach there were still mountains that weren't covered in anything. It was just like a little bit of rainforest on top, some clouds coming in, sweeping over. It's hard to explain, but going into like also differences between different, both Scandinavia and here from that aspect is transportation wise. Yeah.
Tell me more.
You expect everything to, it's like you have you're a little bit prejudiced when you look at you wouldn't call that like South America a third world continent, but you look at them like they're not as developed as we. I mean, we have the schedule every 3 minutes. There's a subway coming, or there's a tram every 15 minutes, and the bus comes in 15 minutes. And over there, it's just craziness, because you see all these pictures when you grow up of buses are being overwhelmed with people, and they come and go when they please. But they have schedules as well, and they're really good of keeping the time. I would even say they're better than here in Sweden. Wow. In some cases. I mean, they run when, except there's always exceptions. When it comes to the metropolitan areas, then everything's all good. When you come to the little smaller, tiny ones, as an example, if you go to Lima, Peru, and you want to go to Machu Picchu, there's like 5 different ways of going to Machu Picchu. Either you walk, or you take a train, or you take walking, riding a motorcycle, and going on a bus. That's the one we chose. Or several other ways of getting there. But then if there's a bus you jump on, yeah, that driver will not drive those 2 hours unless the bus is fully capacitated to its max.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
So we were sitting there for 25 minutes or 30 minutes just waiting for one passenger because it was the front seat that was we were
Empty.
waiting. Yes. And the fare was only like 10 or €1. So it wasn't a big amount, but for them it was much, because then you filled up the entire bus. It was 30 people. So yeah. But out of that aspect, it was more of a personalized taxi. There was no government-run system there on that part.
You mentioned there were like 2 cities that are really special.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Why they are so special?
So the special way of me seeing those were because of being the outsider.
Which are the 2 cities?
Paramaribo and Cayenne in French Guiana. So Paramaribo is the main capital of Suriname, and the other one is from French Guiana. And I never expected that to come. I should have taken the hint. When you read on tourist books, you read upon like online, there's nothing, like hardly anyone who writes something or tells something good about these 2 places. And I was curious. I didn't see anything of I thought it was the hidden treasure of South America. And it was the hidden treasure because we wanted to go as far as we could into the Amazons as we could. And we had to enter the cities to do that. But the transport, the commute there was so hard. I remember we had to take a flight from Colombia to Aruba to Suriname because Venezuela had a civil war going on, and then at the same time they were not communicating. They were closed. Everybody closed the border, so we had to go through Aruba to go down to Suriname. And when we landed in Suriname, it was just, I had never expected to be a target. And this might sound, people might raise their eyebrows, but I never expected to be a subject for racism.
Oh, wow.
The opposite way. Today, we all like the white man does this, the white man does that. But here was the opposite way around. Being contained by the Netherlands for so many years, being a colony off state. I mean, they sent everyone who they didn't want straight over there. So they had this hatred towards foreigners. You're not here. Why should you be here? This is our land. This is our country. This is our place. So that was one of this that both me and Katarina had to adjust into, and going more humbleness into, and go, okay, we understand. We're not here to take over anything or spread our money. We just want to explore your beautiful country, because Suriname is one of the most untouched places when it comes to rainforest in the world, per capita, per human, single human being.
But was it how I'd say? Did you get in troubles, or was it fine?
No, it was more shouting, screaming on when we walked down the street, or we almost ended up in a fist fight due to that. We thought we were just asking if the price could be lowered a little bit. We wanted to make a little bargain with that person, but they thought it as a insult instead. Once again, you have the money, even if we didn't. We were like barely making survival. We're almost broke. It's the end of the journey. We only had a couple of 10 days left to fulfill the full trip down and take ourselves down to Rio de Janeiro. Now we're talking all the way up in the north top of South America, and we have to go down all the way almost down to the bottom. So yeah, that was very interesting.
But did you enjoy your time there?
Not as we enjoyed it, because then we just disconnected everything that we just said, okay, nature first, let's do this. Just focus on that. Focus on here's the cool thing, or not the cool thing. So we went to these 2 places that we really knew that this is going to be like the highlight of the journey part of nature. So we enjoyed that. We enjoyed the great foods of all countries, and the people and the cities, and even just the fun part of commuting and transporting ourselves. So we went out to the Galapagos as an example as well. That was just a 3-hour boat ride to one island. That was the swells were just, there were like 20 people on the boat that started puking. A small little people. Me and Katarina was probably just one of the few who didn't go. Ugh. But anyway, going back to that, so we were really just on the top of nature. We want to see all the monkeys, see the snakes, the anacondas, and looking at the piranhas that were swimming in the rivers and all of that stuff. They had this picture. This is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. Guess what we saw?
What happened? What did
Nothing. Zero. We sat in cafes like in Buenos Aires or down in Rio de Janeiro or over in Quito. We saw more animals in these cities than we did out in nature. There were no monkeys in the trees. But when we sat at breakfast, there were monkeys in the trees when we sat in a big city. So that's an interesting part as well. We take away some of the nature, which makes that the wildlife comes closer to us. And for both fun and not so much fun, it's fun if you want to see the animals, but I guess in the long run, it's not so great for the ecosystem.
Yeah. I have two questions now, actually.
Go.
Because you're an expert in communication. So the first one is how do you create relationship with people that we don't know? Like you as a visitor going to Brazil or other cities and just want to be cool and start to talk with them and just have a nice conversation without this being that you are a visitor with so much money and they are the local. Did you get my question?
Yeah, I do. I think we don't think about these things. We just do. But something that I do and we do. I can't say that I'm true to myself if I just say I am the one who always does it. But being the couple that we are, me and Katarina, like going around different places, it's just nature by doing it. You ask them something. You ask a humble question out of the pureness of curiosity, what it is. Not with a prejudiced thought that you want to achieve something or we're going to lowest price, but you ask them something out of pure curiosity. When we sit, most of our conversations with locals has been when we sit down and eat. So when we sit down or eat, or when we go on on a bus station or a subway station, and we ask them. But in many cases, we get this, but aren't you afraid maybe they take you to a wrong place and they rob you? Yeah, but what if? We can't live life but with a bunch of what ifs, because then you won't see anything. So yeah, what if we ask that person's going to mug us? Yeah, but what if also we ask that person's going to take us to one of the most amazing places on this planet, because that person hasn't told anybody else about that. It's that little person's safe haven. That's little person's slice of heaven on earth. So we ask the questions. You just ask. Like, you don't have to go to the tourist information to get a question. Yeah, it can suck and you can end up robbed. You can end up being shot in your leg. Like one person just a couple of weeks before we went down to Buenos Aires, who was from Sweden and the place where we come from. Apparently he was robbed and they shot him in the leg, so had to amputate that leg. But I mean, that is also, it can happen. I'm not saying that I'm being so, the word in Swedish is so great. And it's the same in English. But yeah, is it wrong being naive? In some cases it can be, but I say when you go traveling, when you want to see and when you visit a city or when you explore something, be a little bit naive. Ask people. Because if you get the right local, that local will show you exactly what you need to do. I can tell you endless stories of when we ask people in different parts of the world, where should we go? You have a recommendation? Well, sorry, we're lost, but we're looking for some great place to eat. We get their favorite place to eat. And I can tell you this, the amount of food that has entered this tummy, and the taste of it. And it's just been pure enjoyment because the locals know the locals area.
Of course. But how do you keep the conversation running and not like, okay, you ask a question, you get an answer and that's it? How do you keep this? Because
you keep the conversation going?
Yeah, so you create a kind of more beautiful atmosphere or maybe a new relationship.
Yeah, so that would be that are you talking about being in a foreign country, or are you talking in general?
No, being in a foreign country.
Being in a foreign country. Well, from our experience, it is that, okay, so when we ask something, in 9 out of 10 times, they go, so where are you guys from? And we go, we're from Sweden. Or I'm half Austrian and Katarina's half Finnish. And they go, oh, wow, it's a beautiful. So because we asked them out of just randomly, then they start going, oh, I've never been to Europe. Oh, it's a dream of mine that I have. I'm like, yes. And oh, you should definitely fulfill that. And when you're there, I have a couple of recommendations that you need to go visit. And when you have that, because then it's a gift to return. So they ask because they just feel that it's a cool thing. But then I answer them with something that, hey, the reward you will get by coming there. And whenever you come there, you have to give us a call. I know this, and I know this might be jumping in, but do you use one of the social media platforms? I'm like, yeah, let's connect there. And from that on, then you have made somebody a connection in that place without being awkward, without being weird. But I guess to be honest with you, like, just take away some of the BS. It's just, it comes down and boils down to your personality. You have to ask yourself, is like, seriously, should we, in these times, fear is conquering so much. But can you be really afraid of everything? Can you be afraid of taking that step into, I've known friends that, travel to a foreign country, everything has to be structured every single minute of every single day of the entire duration of the week, of the month, or whatever, how long they're gone. But what happens when you come back? Like, oh, I had a great vacation. What did you do? Okay. But they're all, then you have pre-written stories because you don't do too much exclusively. You don't take it as it comes, or as you can't predict what's going to happen. And I think that is when you get to that state of mind, when you have that, when you don't fear that as much anymore. This might seem too grand for both you and the listeners, but I truly believe that's when you really start living your life. That's really when you explore it. And I guess now you go, I want to read that mumbo jumbo book that you also have read. How do I make my life become to this? Yeah.
Wow. You're sharing a lot of human beings' feelings. Now my question to you, what is home for you?
Let's go with the classical one. My home is where I place my hat. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My home is where I place my hat. Where like I said, if I could survive 9 weeks together with Katarina, with a little bit of amount in my wallet and 30 liters of 30 liters of package in my, 30 liters of luggage in my bag. Yeah. Then I can truly live it wherever.
So you don't have a specific place like, okay, this is my flat in Stockholm. This is my home.
Yeah, I'm not driven by money. So no, I don't have that. So what I do, currently we are renting a flat and we've just canceled it. So now we're taking and embarking on the next journey. So in the end of this year, and that would be end of year 2020. So we are packing our little car that we just bought. It's a little Lupo from 2001. It's red. So if you ever see a red little Lupo with some rails on top of the roof, then it's probably us. So we're going to pack that little car and then we're going to start driving.
To?
We don't know. South. If the borders are closed, then we drive north. And if the borders are close up there, then we drive west. And if the west border is closed, then we drive east. So we're just going to take it as it comes. Because if we can take our full life, if I can live in a bag for 9 weeks, and I can move myself within the size of a Lupo, then I know perfectly well that the true me is not driven by money, what I own. It's just, I want to explore. I want to touch everyone. That came out really wrong, but I want to touch everyone in every culture. I want to get that before I kick the bucket. I want to be able to go all places in the world. Middle East, Asia, Russia, been there, but want to go even further deep down developing in India, Pakistan, Iraq. I want to see all of it, everything, because I just want to learn. Because if I learned something from my mom is that the bucket list that everybody talks about and fills up, the true inspiration, if you can look at your bucket list before you kick the bucket, and you have 2 things left on that bucket list, then you can die in peace. Then you know that there was nothing more that I wanted to fulfill in my life. I've completed everything that I needed, everything that I wanted, everything that I urged and had in my list. It's said and done.
So you're not attracted by very luxury houses, especially here in Sweden, like facing the lake with a very beautiful material and interior?
Oh, no. So if I would look at what my perfect place would be, it would be a small cabin by the lake or by the ocean, preferably. A small cabin with a big, gigantic window. It can be modern. That's fine. It can be modern. And I mean, I will always be grateful when I flush the toilet or take a warm shower or put my dishes in the dishwasher and closes it, or just having clean clothes or food in the refrigerator. But it doesn't need to be, I don't have to have a 75-inch flat screen smart TV with 15 different computers connected to that and smart lights. But I'm not saying it's wrong to have those ideals of what a perfect life is. That's fine. But in my case, no, it's not what drives me. I just, preferably be on a mountain somewhere, overlooking water view.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, talking about all this technology and smart lightings, in Urbanistica, I explore together with my guests what is a smart city. So in your case, tell me, how do you imagine a smart city?
Oh, how I imagine a smart city. That's a really good question. A smart city for me would be where we go a little back in time to create, smartness doesn't come from just technology. Smartness comes from a child exploring something, a child playing with something, a child creating their own world. And that's being smart in my head, at least. So a smart city is where we interact the new technology with the old-fashioned ways of doing things. You might, what is that then? Well, a smart city is to remember its heritage. So in Stockholm, as an example, if we take that as an example, you have trams going from Djurgården into Stockholm's the downtown Stockholm. But there is one, and sometimes that are out on weekends, that is the old one. Just to show that this is what we moved from to, just to see that the city has become a little bit smarter. But it also gives the idea for children to, look at what has the city become? Like, where is the direction? Oh, this is what it looked like before. Another thing with being smart that I would say would be that when we come to the breaking point, that each and every single commercial that you see on the street is directed towards you. So that's a different smartness. So the smartness of having a child, being able to be a child and growing up, and we're not forgetting where our heritage comes from or how the city looks from before, that is smart. But another thing is to go a little bit into the Minority Report stuff, where you have the eye tracking, where you can get that you walk into a mall and all of a sudden you get this, look, we had a discounted this, and you have discounted this due to what you have talked about with your friends or what you have searched on Google or any other platform that you're using to search as a search engine. So that is also what I see as a smart. So when you walk down the street, you will get commercials that are pinpointed at you directly, like my Minority Report.
So both smart city is both a combination between a past and a future.
Yes. Yeah, that you can't, you definitely just put it into words.
And what is a smart home for you?
Alexa? Okay. Sorry, I had the other one. So what's the name? Siri. Siri. Yeah, no. So I guess that is the idea what people say of a smart home. But a smart home for me, if we looked at the benefits of it, would be to, hey, just flag down when the milk is out. Ding dong, Alex, you need to buy milk. Or by the way, we have already purchased milk for you, so the delivery will come tomorrow at 5:34 p.m. Kind of like that. So I guess that is the smart home. Now that's
like a home manager,
like a home manager. Yeah,
a digital home manager.
It's such a hard question. So if you would ask me this question 10 years ago, I would tell you, oh, a smart home is when everything is run by somebody else, like AI. That is smart home. So I had definitely, without a doubt, I had a big, gigantic, we're talking huge projector with a big screen, like with so it went down a screen in my living room. And then it was how big of a living room did you have? It was huge. It was gigantic. It was like the depth of it, just amazing. Then on top of that, I have a TV in there. I had a surround system. I had spotlight, satellite phone, satellite speakers. That's what they're, satellite speakers. And then in every room I had a TV, like in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the restroom. So I was super smart. I was super intelligent because I thought everything that was smart connected. So I was really going into the materialistic. And here's the thing. Why am I just ranting on this? Due to exactly that. The smart home. Well, I felt pretty stupid realizing that all of that, you don't need all of that to have a smart home. So in my definition of a smart home is things that can help you, focus on help, not take away from you. You might want to, okay, yeah, what do you mean? Asking Alexa or Siri things, is that really so smart? I remember the good old days, and I would never thought think that I would say this, but I miss the era of when people had an argument, like you and I are having an argument on something that something that differs. You have one opinion, I have one opinion.
I put my card.
Yeah, exactly. And we were discussing it, and then we said, okay, you know what? When I come home, I'm just going to look it up in a dictionary. I'll call you later. And you went home, and I guess this is definitely a generation question. So then you went home, looked at the dictionary, seeing, I was right. And then you called each other and it's like, yeah, so if you look at page 55, yeah, see, I was right. Yeah. Okay. Just want to tell you, yeah, talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Now it's like, Alexa, why is it called this? And like, no. And then she rambles on and rants on why things are. So I think the smartness, yeah, I don't know where to conclude this. A smart home is where you have appliances or things that can assist you and help you, but not take over the work. So even if I said, yeah, it would be nice with somebody reminding you to buy milk, I truly believe I didn't want to have somebody to purchase the milk. Because when we do more smart things at home, we do it because we want to have more time with our family, right? In many cases, that's why we buy all these things. But what is the end result? That is that parents work longer, because then they can stay at work before they have to go home, because they don't have to stop at the grocery to buy things. I know this can upset people. I know that this can upset people, but at the same time, yeah, going a little bit backwards, it's nothing wrong.
Do you think that we are better now in communication with all the smart devices around us?
We've optimized it, but are we great? Yeah. Once again, we have to lift up. No. Okay. All right. No, we're not doing things better. We've optimized it as we think, but we're not doing it better. So we have connected people all across the globe to make that you can have a friend in the far end of whatever country on the other side of the globe. It can be a friend that now sits next to you right there in your couch at home. So that is something we've done fantastically. We've brought people together closer that we've never seen before. But communicational wise, we're kind of taking a step back, because we are, instead of calling each other, we text. Instead of calling each other in the office, we write an email. Instead of calling each other, we talk to, we don't even talk to somebody else. We take a snap and we send them that instead. So we've stopped talking to each other, and we haven't, but we've decreased levels. So, I mean, you can get so much said and you can listen in so much more when you pick up the phone and start dialing instead. And I have lecturers around the globe, and right now, a lot of the material that is spread is that, you know what? Stop writing those emails. Yeah, stop writing those emails. Get up on your feet and walk those 5 offices down the hall and talk to your colleague instead. It's like over and over and over again. This is the message that people are sending, because when other people pick up on that, then we have a situation. Then we have a problem. And this is the case. People are now needing the guidance how to communicate with their closest friends, with their family, with their coworkers. Since when? Since when have we lost the ability to speak? We have communicated. All right, this is an interesting fact. So we have communicated towards each other with sign language for the last 250,000 years. We have written things in walls in caves for approximately between 27,000 and 35,000 years. We have written words to each other for the last 3,500. And we're talking sending documents and sending regular mail. For the last 30 years, we have solely depended on technology to do that communication through PowerPoint, Excel, documents from the email clients. So now communication, we need to take a step back there and just go, maybe I should take my face off my phone and look at the person, or just give that person a call instead.
And how do you experience the communication in the city now when you go out and see the signs? And like experience-wise, do you feel that the city communicate with you, or you get lost? You don't have a kind of feelings or a conversation with the city. When I'm saying city, like it's everything.
Okay, so
it's more like a philosophical question.
Yeah. One of the cities that has spoken most to me in my entire, like the times I've been there, it was not in my journey in South America. It's not down in Asia. It wasn't in Africa. It was, and I don't know, several of you have done it, but I don't know if you've done it. But when you walk down in Manhattan and you stand there in Times Square, I was like, yeah, that is one of the few moments that I've experienced in life that the city is speaking to me. That the commercials that they have, the billboards, the signs of Phantom of the Opera, it's been running there for like the last 5,000 years. But it just speaks to you. You have people walking, not now, but before, you have people walking around. You have the cabs going over. You have the cops standing there. You hear their sirens. You see the subway fumes and just pours out of those outlets, and you have the cabs honking the horn. That truly speaks, and I believe that is a city and a place that has been speaking to people for so long, and will keep on doing it after we're going to whatever we're going to call it, after COVID or after Corona, or prior. So no, that is the city. But I when I look at the city here and in other cities, I don't get that. I don't get all of it combusted into one. Do you know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah. I mean, the closest I get to the billboards flashing is when you walk down to Sveavägen here in Sweden, and you look at it and going, yes, there is on the wall there. Yep, this is, now it was bright. And then it goes back. Oh, and then it was bright again. Oh, nice. And then you have maybe one siren and way over there. Yeah. But yeah. So.
Well, Alex, how to say, I'm so speechless. I'm trying to run this conversation, but I'm really, enjoying how you, what do you call it? Like paint a picture or an
Visualizing.
Yeah. It's so good to listen to you. I should bring you here more, like talking about every single city you visit.
Yeah, it's like, this is what I've done over here. This is what I like over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So after all this conversation, what do you love in cities and what do you hate in cities?
Okay.
Like one element from each question.
Yeah. Okay. So what do I love with the cities? What do I love with the cities? There's several things I love with the city. So before everything, I thought myself of being an urban guy, liking everything that has to do with urban stuff. I also said that I would never live in this crappy city called Stockholm. I've been living here for the past 3 years, and I really enjoyed the city. But things that I love with the city in general is the flow of people, being in crowds. And this is such a bad it's bad taste just saying it now in these times, but still, if I look at what I remember from being in big cities was the movement, the constant moving around everywhere. And then also, I love the mixture, and that depends on what city it is, but the mixture of the architects and the architectural structure of the city. I mean, going down to Germany and going down to Austria, you got the old, really old fashioned way. Det geht gut da. Also old like Baroque. Ja, versteht's? Gut. And then, but then you go up here, I can be, you know, I see the architecture. What I'm trying to say is that when I stand in a city and I look up on the high rises, or I look up, I accidentally many times just get the glance of the old structures of what the old houses look like. And that is something I love, because how often do we really how many times do we really look up? In many cases, we just go from A to B and then go subway and then go keep. I mean, stop and just enjoy it. So that's one of the things that I do enjoy, just stopping, watching, and the people moving around. Can I say food?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to say food then. So the food in the cities is pretty cool, because in many cases, I use this several times, but it's good, kind of forms the shape. There's so many different ways of different cultural foods that you can choose from in the cities that is hard to find out.
Yeah, and the countryside.
And the countryside, yeah, because then it's really specific to that place.
Yeah.
So those are the three things: architecture, people flow, and the culinary of different countries or different areas.
Nice. And what do you hate?
Oh, what I hate?
Like really hate, not that you don't like and it's fine. No, like hate.
The coldness. We've gotten cold. I mean, this is something I truly hate. I mean, how often do you see somebody hold a door for someone else? How often do you see that if somebody doesn't go on green, that the car behind them don't honk? So I would say that the coldness that we're experiencing in cities, especially, I think that is where it starts, because you're rushing, you have from A to B, you're in the career in a high level. I mean, there's 50,000 meetings you have to attend that day, and then you have to make yourself look good for you're going to meet your friends during the evening, and you're going to go out partying in the nightclubs, and then you're going to, you know, be hungover on the Sunday. You're going to be all great, and then you're going to order pizza, and then it's all over again. You're going to restart that week after week after week after week after week, and you don't have time. So I hate people not having the time to enjoy the things that I mentioned before. And also that people need to we need to go back to becoming gentlewomen and gentlemen again. Seeing people, helping people. Not honking when somebody's not driving when it's green. Yep.
Okay. No, you're an eye opener. I got so many different ideas and thoughts and reflections now. It's good to talk to you. Thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, what do you do apart of coaching and communication skills? What do you do? Like, what are your hobbies?
Oh, my hobby. This is going to be... Okay, so what I do, I really enjoy diving, scuba diving. I really enjoy... Okay, I don't know if I can say this. I really enjoy shooting, not people, but competing in shooting and competitive shooting. So being on a range, just shooting, not just, but shooting a gun towards a target, and not a target. That's bad as well. So I enjoy. We'll just sum this.
Alex, I want my podcast keep running in Spotify, so don't use any violence and.
Okay, so all right, so I enjoy competitive shooting and scuba diving.
Cool, yep. Cool. So, again, thank you so much for coming here and for giving your valuable time to record this episode. And I would really love that you give 3 takeaway messages to all the listeners from your point of view as a communication expert.
So 3 takeaways. All right, the world is in a very awkward state right now, but I would highly recommend looking at people to start looking and start planning. I was saying, you know what? There was a man who once told me that either life happens for you or to you. Even if we are in this pandemic, as it is right now, we still have to plan for what's after this, what's going to happen. The world is not going to go back to what it was. It's going to be into something new. And what I say, start now to think, what do you want to see before you kick the bucket? What do you want to do before you kick the bucket? And how can you achieve that before you kick the bucket? If there's a will, and this is such a cliche, if there's a will, there's a way. So that is one I'll take. The second thing is we need to start treating each other somewhat better. We need to be more humble towards each other. And this might seem that we have to start spreading love. No, I'm not saying that we have to start spreading love. We just have to give some kindness back to other people, not only the ones that we know in the close vicinity, but other people around. And the third and final one, just stop for a while. Whenever you're out walking, if it's in nature, if it's in downtown, whatever city you live in the entire globe, just stop, raise your head, look up, take a nice inhale, exhale, just enjoy that little moment that you have right then and there, because then you have given yourself the biggest treat that you can in life, and that is a little bit of your own time.
Well, thank you so much, Alice.
Who the
Thank you so much, Alex. Really, really powerful messages. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
3 hashtags also for the episode.
3 hashtags. Wow. Live your life, love life. The third one is always tricky. Be kind.
Awesome. Will you give us more of your time when you come back from the car trip?
Yeah, car trip. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see how long the car will be running as a unit. I think Heidelberg down in Germany, then it's gonna probably go. So probably no. So yeah, of course, and the cool thing is that this is also something I want to bring to the table. Whenever you travel somewhere in the globe right now and you feel that, oh, maybe am I not taking the responsibility? You can always do it smart. So same thing here. I am going to leave this country one way or another. That is just my destiny. But the cool thing is that you can always communicate. Like you asked me before, has the world become smarter in communication? Have we done anything good? Yeah, we brought people together. So I would be happy to come back more than once or twice or 3 times or even for the next decade, as long as we just connect over one of the streaming services there is out there with a great microphone like this one and a headset. I think we're all good and covered.
Awesome. Can I put your Instagram on the episode description so
yes,
people can
put you can put it that, and then you can also put the connection to the LinkedIn, because that's where the power messages there. That's where they are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. You learned something new and also got inspired by the guest. Don't forget to share the episode on your social media and recommend it to people you think they are really interested in this topic. Thank you so much again for giving your valuable time to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif. Keep up the good work. Keep loving cities.